code for you, Adam.
Cool. All right.
We're live.
Go for it.
Sure. What's up, everybody? This is Hump Day Hangouts number. I forgot the number. Too many. Number too many. We've been doing it too long. And anyway, if you're here, it is because you want your questions answered, and we're here to answer your questions. But first, let's take care of a little bit of sociability, since we're not very good at that. And I'm going to call on you as I see you left to right. So first person that I see is Adam. What's up, Adam? What's happening where you are now, as opposed to where you were before?
I moved from an empty room, in the Bay Area to an empty room in Seattle. We're waiting on our stuff to get delivered. So I've got this like echo chambery room, but I'm here in Seattle and I'm loving it. So I know, Marco, I like the sunshine I see when you're on there, but I like the variation here. So I'm looking forward to being up here with the clouds, a little bit of rain, and gonna go head up into the actual mountains this afternoon after Hump Day Hangout. So can't complain, man. Things are good.
Well, about a couple of miles that way north, I have a volcano that's still what is it, about 3,000 feet or so. I'm already up way high, right? So it's a 3,500, 4,000 feet from the foot straight up. So we got plenty of mountains if you want mountains. There's plenty of rain there if you want rain. I mean, it's always cloudy throughout the rainy season. But cool to know. So you went from a lot of rain in San Francisco to a lot more rain in Seattle.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, man. Then I see Chris. What's up in Austria, Chris?
Well, things are pretty good. Like, we had pretty warm weather. I think 31 degrees yesterday and before that as well. So full on summertime here. According to the weather report, it's going to rain for 10 days from tomorrow on. So I enjoyed really the last couple of days. But we'll see, because I don't believe that it's going to rain for 10 days. But yeah, things
Heat
are good
and sun.
Yeah,
Cool
man,
deal,
summertime.
man. Summer in Austria. Man, what's that famous hotel? That hotel is really famous for, what is it? The Black Forest cherry cake? Well, maybe it's not Austria. Maybe I'm thinking Germany.
Sacher Hotel.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. One of the places I want to go to and eat Black Forest cherry cake, man.
Yeah, man, you're welcome. Just hop on over.
Not right now.
Well,
Hernan, what's up? I see you.
Good. What's going on, man? It's good here. It's getting colder, you motherfuckers. So we're going into the other season, the cold season. But everything is good. Everything is good. It's been a busy day, but productive. So happy to be here as always.
Bradley, your turn to be social. What's up, man?
What's up, guys? Happy to be here. I don't know why I was locked out of my own damn site, Semantic Mastery, but I was unable to get in there. That's why I was a little funky this getting started today, guys. Sorry about that, but I'm glad to be here. I just got off a webinar with for Conversion.ai with the developer from Surfer SEO, and it was at noon today, Eastern time, and it was really good because it really kind of helped me to get better idea of how to use those two tools together. So I spent the last 90 minutes or so optimizing content, and it's pretty powerful, man. It's pretty cool strategy for local. You can kind of crush it with just really good on page for the most part. So it's a really cool strategy, but happy to be here. I see we don't have a lot of questions just yet. So hopefully you guys, if you have them, post them, because you got our undivided attention for the next hour.
Which reminds me, you saying that I have a video that my VA did on her content writing process on how she uses inlinks, conversion, and Surfer. So ping me so that I can remind myself to share that with you, so you can take a look at what she's doing, and maybe no, you don't count, Adam. Sorry, all of you who did not attend POFU Live, do not and cannot have access to any of this. I'm sorry. You want the benefits of POFU Live? Attend POFU Live. Imagine how that works. If you want what's in POFU Live, you should attend POFU Live. Start saving up. Start saving up your pennies so you can attend in September, October. Have we defined that yet?
Last weekend of September.
There you go. Last weekend of September. Mark it on your calendar. Start saving your duckies. Put all your duckies in a row so that you can attend the whole weekend. So, like, send the family on a trip if you got family. No holds barred. We're going to give you everything that it takes for you to be successful. That's how we do it. At any rate, you see how it works for me, right? You see how I'm sorry. It feels like I have to apologize for living in a country with beautiful weather, warm, beautiful weather. Still in a t-shirt. I was just in a tank top. I only changed for Hump Day Hangouts. I'm still in my underwear. No, I got
Well,
shorts
I hope that you're in your underwear, man.
No, I was just thinking of that. What's that? Not Jerry, Charlie Babbitt. When he goes, "I'm an excellent driver, and I don't have any underwear," because he hadn't been shopping at Kmart or Walmart. I can't remember. Anyway, if we're done, Adam, you want to take over and drive this train, right?
Yeah, definitely. Just a couple of quick announcements. Marco mentioned Pofu Live, and we're going to be putting that out there. As always, we offer an early bird special to people who hop on that. We're going to be having some news coming out about that later in May, maybe early June, as we can get that to you once we get things kind of laid out. But highly recommend when you see that, hop on it. And it is going to be the last weekend in September. We got some great speakers lined up again this year. And it's just going to be kick-ass. I think last year was the best feedback we've gotten, and I feel like I'm kind of tooting our own horn, but it's been really good feedback each year, and last year was the same and even better, which was really cool going virtual, because there's a lot that we get out of in-person meetings. When I say we, I mean ourselves as well as you, but we were also able to do some things, squeeze in some more talks, add some more value to it with it being digital. So and my view, it came out well, and the feedback was that it was done very well. So really happy about that, and glad we can bring you guys that much value. So beyond that, if you're new, welcome. If you're new to Smack Mastery, MGYB, Heavy Hitters Club, if you're not sure what those things are, then the place you should start is theseoshield.com. That's the word the, SEOshield.com. Find out how to shield your site. Don't have to worry about algorithm updates. It's free training. Go grab it. Also, if you're looking to easily automate content syndication for authority, relevance, and trust, then Syndication Academy is the place you should be. Okay, you can find out more about that at syndication.academy. Just had a massive update to that. We've got ongoing training, ongoing updates with that. We have a dedicated team member dedicated just to Syndication Academy. So if that sounds at all interesting to you, automating content syndication for all of that, head over to syndication.academy. And if you're ready to grow your, go ahead.
If I can just cut you off there for a second, because this is so important, man. So imagine that you attend Pofu Live like you should, and you do content the way that you're supposed to. You prepare your blog post the way that you're supposed to, tuned for the bot and for the user, giving the user what the user is looking for, solving the pain, and then you syndicate it. You send your content out there into your properties, your T1 branded. So you have your own platform that's going to display your content. And it's not only that, we're going to show images. We just did GIFs 2 weeks ago from tomorrow. We did a website and we showed how to take advantage of it, which is the best thing about what we do is that we show you how to take advantage of the website for SEO. So it's a great, you all know, GIFs are a great thing for grabbing somebody's attention. But then how do you use the website for SEO, which is where most people don't know. And that's where SE is really fantastic. I just had her going and looking for more websites so that we could connect these in a way that I'm not going to teach how here, but she is going to be teaching in Syndication Academy so tomorrow we have another webinar. She's doing iframes, by the way, and she will be showing a companion for the other website that we showed. And this is continuing because Bradley gave us a list of over 300 websites that we have to go and explore, along with the list of websites that I had already given her to explore. This is why we got a dedicated person, so that we didn't have to just keep hounding Bradley for his time for him to go do the updates. We actually got someone to go through the training, someone who didn't know anything about SEO, let alone Syndication Academy, go through the training. And by the end of the training, she was able to go and explore the websites that I gave her without any instruction, other than go see what you can do with this website. I had already been in there and knew what you could do, but I wanted to see what she could do, what she could get out of it. And it was just fantastic. And so we have a meeting Friday, as a matter of fact, on how we're going to be fitting all of these pieces of the puzzle together, all of these extra things for extra SEO benefit. So we're adding power to T1 branded as we go, and we're adding more ways to feature content, more ways to feature your brand. You have to deliver that brand message. Maybe you want to be comical in a GIF. Maybe you want to show people, a big wide shot, maybe a 360. However it is that you want to present your brand, your message, and feature your entity so that you're feeding Google and the visitor. So you're taking care of several things. Syndication Academy isn't just for content syndication anymore. It's a way to validate and solidify the entity. It does a really good job of bringing everything together once you put all the links together. You can't just do one thing. If you're only focused on Syndication Academy, over time it will work, but it takes longer than what it used to. And so we do several other things to get Google to pay attention, but Syndication Academy is still foundational to what we do. That has never changed. And I'm just gonna shut up. Fantastic.
Yeah, so guys, go check it out, syndication.academy. And then I saw there was a question on the Hump Day Hangout page about Pofu Live. Just to be clear, this is going to be digital again this year, or online rather. So, with the way things are in the world right now, we can't predict the future. So we want to do it in the best way possible so we can guarantee you guys that it's going to happen. So we decided last month that that's the way we're going to rock it this year. So it's going to be online. And then last but not least, just want to have one more quick announcement, and then we'll get into your questions. I've talked about theSEOshield.com. You heard about Syndication Academy. And last but certainly not least, if you're ready to grow your business, whether it's we do have brick and mortar members, although mostly digital marketing, whether it's agency consulting, but a mastermind. If you want to join an experienced community, you want fast access, real world info, testing, news from not only ourselves on the video here, but also the other members of the mastermind who are actively engaged in these pursuits, like agency owners building their own businesses, then the mastermind is a place for you. You can find out more about that at mastermind.semanticmastery.com. So with that said, guys, unless there's anything else, let's get into the questions.
Sweet. Grab the screen. I'm still having issues. Chris is trying to fix it for me, but we'll get it sorted. All right. You guys are seeing my screen, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So the first question looks like is from Rocket Blast. He says, "How can I hire you guys to do SEO? Not done for you services." Well, if it's for tree service companies, then I'm your man. But if it's for anything else, you talk to these other guys, because I won't even entertain the potential for it. So
yeah, he can send us an email, and I'm probably not interested either, unless you got the budget for it. I'm talking about real budget. But I got people in my mastermind who will do, depending on the budget. And we have like several levels of people that I can reach out to. And we have people in our Semantic Mastery Mastermind that we can also reach out to hook you up. So if it's not DFY that you're looking for, and by the way, we will use the DFY services anyway,
right. Yeah.
which is why why the budget should be there. You should start thinking. So you've seen what the cost is, and we have a way of stacking it together. That's what I show in my private mastermind, how to get just that extra bit of juice out of it. So just send an email. You can send it to support. You can send it to me directly. You can contact us in Facebook. You can even private message me in Facebook and say, hey, you told me to contact you from Hump Day Hangouts, and I will hook you up with someone who will do a really good job for you.
Yeah, which just a quick follow on too, and a quick plug for the mastermind. I think in the last few months, I've referred 2 or 3 clients into 2 mastermind members. So that's another benefit. Like, we do funnel work in there. We know who's doing what. So that's another side benefit of that. And I know a couple of those have turned out quite well. So just another good reason to be in the mastermind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had a post in the mastermind today from one of our members that was showing a great big geogrid that was just green as could be. It was beautiful. And he gave us a shout out saying this shit works, which
I meant to ask him if I could post that live.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Let me reach
something
out.
else.
I'll reach out to him.
Something else is, we've got the mini masterminds going, which are like little break-off groups inside the mastermind with where we do different things. I was hosting really 3 of them all simultaneously. And I just shut one of them down last week, I guess, or a couple of weeks ago now. which was the real estate mini mastermind, but some of those members are still meeting, which is kind of cool. I just backed out of that because that's not my primary focus right now. But I've got an accountability group with a few of our members that we meet every Monday, where we're talking about a very specific type of SEO agency build that I'm in the process of doing, which is what I'll be covering in POFU Live this year, as a matter of fact. And then on Thursdays, we have a sales mastermind, which is awesome. There's like 6 or 7 of us in that group, and where we just talk about sales stuff, and it's really cool. I get a lot out of those little mini masterminds. It's not just like me going and talking. It's like we're all helping each other. Like we're all, they say iron sharpens iron or something like that, right? So that's kind of like what we're doing is we just meet on a weekly basis on Mondays and Thursdays. It's 2 different groups, but Mondays and Thursdays, and just kind of hold each other accountable and share stuff that's working. And that's exactly how Semantic Mastery got formed way back in, I think, 2012. I think we incorporated in 2013, but it's the exact same way. So it's very, very beneficial, guys. I would encourage you to check out the mastermind, because there's a lot of perks and a lot of benefits for being part of that.
I was just thinking, my son was a baby when we were in that other mastermind, and he's in 4th grade, man.
Wow. It's incredible.
But yeah, time flies.
Yeah, it sure as hell does. Don't remind me. My daughter turns 16 in about 5 weeks.
Uh-oh.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Time to get into that bank account, man.
Yeah, we every weekend that I have her, we go out driving together because she's got her learner's permit, and she's a responsible young woman, so I'm not really all that worried about her driving. But can't believe she's almost 16. It's unbelievable. So anyway. Moving on, Gordon says, hey guys, I hope you are all still well and safe. Thank you, Gordon. I believe all of us are. He says, I have 2 quick questions I need your help with. Number 1, I know you are not an advocate of creating mass page local lead gen sites. And that's true. I have not been for several years, for many years. However, I am starting a mass page type site. Actually, like I just got my content back from the writers. I ordered a really in-depth article for it. I can't really give away the details on that just yet, but I am starting a project where I'm going to be testing some of that in the next couple of weeks. And it's something that I'll be covering in the mastermind, as well as we're probably going to be doing some sort of an offer to our audience once I have the initial setup done. And there will be an opportunity to actually join with me on a probably bi-weekly basis to build sites, mass page type sites for local lead gen. So that's something that we'll bring you guys the details. We'll present you with the details as we finalize them, but it's probably going to be within the next month for sure. So anyways, getting back to the question, I believe that Google now has the ability to see that thousands of pages on a website were created simultaneously and red flag it. Is that correct? And if so, what in your estimation is the maximum number of website pages you can use software to create at the same time to avoid a Google red flag? Okay, I don't know the answer to that because I haven't done that in so long. It's probably been 4 or 5 years since I've even attempted any sort of thing like that. However, the way that I'm going to do it now is going to be to build out much smaller clusters of pages, like maybe a 10-mile radius around a particular location, and do it that way, and then also drip the build out. Just to be clear, the system that I'm going to be using will allow me to schedule the pages to be published as opposed to just doing it all in one big dump. For example, I used to use Lead Gadget years ago when I was doing a lot of mass page stuff, and that would build a 32,000 page or post WordPress site that would cover every single town name or city name in the United States, all in one fell swoop. And it was crazy. It didn't actually take that long to build a site. Like preparing to build took a long time, but the actual build process only took a few minutes. And then the site would just we're talking, and if you added tags, like 3 tags per post, you're talking about 100,000 tag pages. And it was crazy. It was enormous sites. And then the way that they would index was it was strange. It was just like typical rules for money sites just didn't apply to those types of sites. And I don't know why. Maybe Marco could shed some light on that. But what I'm saying is that the method that I'm going to be using now has the ability for me to go in and say, I want to build out you know, all the locations around a 10-mile radius of a particular, you know, location or geocoordinate or address or whatever. And then it'll go out and I can set it to drip it out and say, like, you know, I don't know if there's 150 pages. I don't know if there would be that many, but if there were, I want those to be published over the course of 30 days. So it would drip them out as opposed to doing it all in one, like, dump. So again, I will share more of those details when the time is appropriate. But I do think there is a reason to use those that I'm going to be testing because of my new project that I've been working on for my new agency. This would actually fit really well with it if it's something that I can get to work. So more on that will be coming. Marco, what do you think about that? As far as
think about it, you have a domain that well, the domain doesn't exist. All of a sudden, you go in and buy the domain, or let's take it another way. Maybe you buy an expired domain. Google knows everything about that expired domain. They might have even de-indexed that expired domain if you don't do your due diligence. But let's say you go and buy an expired domain. Suddenly, that expired domain goes from a parking page to, I don't know, 50,000 pages. I mean, anybody, it doesn't take Google to know and understand that that's a mass page build. Now that's not a problem. In and of itself, you creating thousands of pages simultaneously is not the problem. It's the value that you're providing in Google's eyes to the visitor. Because if you're just giving the visitor the same thing over and over and over again with just a couple of tokens flipped out, with just a couple of tokens change, city and service, maybe just whatever, there's really no value. There's no reason for that other than manipulation. Google understands that. We understand that. It's not difficult to code something to go look at timestamps and see this didn't exist. All of a sudden, this guy's submitting a sitemap, which we did. Mm-hmm. We went and submitted it to get it indexed, and Google didn't care. And as a matter of fact, the more care that you took, make uniquifying. Now here's a word for you. To uniquify, doesn't exist, but just to make it unique, then the better they would index, the better they would stick over time. Land Solutions Network still has a ton of pages that were mass built, and they're there to this day because Rob, who did the mass page build, took special care to make each page as unique as possible and to change things around. So if you're feeding Google the same divs, everything in the same place over and over and over again, just flipping out words, isn't that obvious? That no human being can create that number of pages that quickly. So whether that's a red flag, I don't think so. I think there's other things involved that raise a red flag, like how unique it is, how much value are you providing, how much manipulation are you doing, how much are you trying to get away with within the terms of service. So I think it's just more than they just, okay, I'm creating a mass page website that's going to raise a red flag and is going to get me killed. No, as far as maximum or minimum, I don't have one, because what we do is, I don't know, 15, 20, 25,000 pages. But I see how if you drip these out and you start submitting then as they drip out for indexing, how that would make it more difficult to pick out as a mass page build instead of just a team producing the pages and content, which is what you're trying to do. So if you're just using software and you're going from that software straight to the server or whatever, yeah, there's several ways that Google can tag that and raise that red flag. Whether just building the mass pages is a red flag, I don't know. The number of pages that you can get away with and it's a red flag, I don't know. But I know Rob is about to do 250,000 pages in a build, and we'll let you know.
Yeah, and just to be clear, one of my, my new local agency, it's just strictly for tree service contractors, well, and landscaping and excavating contractors. But I built a directory site, and I'm doing one state at a time. And so far I've only got Virginia done, and I actually just finished my prospecting list for that, which I imported about 780 tree contractors for the state of Virginia. all in one fell swoop. I did it with the CSV upload to the directory theme that I'm using, and it created, 750 or so company pages on the directory site. And other than the SEO Shield and a few ROIS expansions for some of the service categories on the directory site that are all tree related, tree removal related, or tree service related categories. I really have, and I did I think about 15 press releases to the site. But other than that, I haven't done any link building to it or anything else. And you should see, and it's been about probably three and a half months now since I initially uploaded all those pages that were created, the directory pages, and which were very, very scarce in information. It just had company name, address, city, street, zip, phone number, and then a link to their website and a text-based link. It wasn't hyperlinked that's just the way that it worked when I uploaded the CSV file with all the contractor information. So it ended up being just a very small amount of text with literally company name, city, state, zip, phone number, and then a text link, not a hyperlink, but a text link to their website. And that's it. And then what I've been doing is that, I contact the contractors through cold email and or voice drops, through phone, and, ask them to confirm their company information. And anybody that replies back to me, then they get put into my sales pipeline. And then I have a whole process where we go in and actually gather all their information that we can find on the web about their company, and then optimize the directory page. And that is what I use as kind of my foot in the door strategy to get a conversation going. And it's been working really, really well. It's probably been the most successful type of prospecting method I've ever done, to be honest with you. But the reason I'm telling you this is because just through that process of optimizing, like, again, importing 750 contractors all at once, and then, slowly but steadily, we're going through, I've got, my VA who does the optimization once a contractor replies and confirms their information, then we go optimize their page. And so she does, on average, probably 4 or 5 directory pages per day. Sometimes it's many more, it just depends on how many people were replying. And what's happened is if you go look at Search Console, and I was going to pause the screen while Marco was talking, but I didn't get a chance to do it. But I can take a screenshot of Search Console to show you, because you'll see it's a flat line until the site was added to Search Console. And then all of a sudden you can just see steadily over the last couple of months, like if Search Console default view is 3 months, the last 3 months. And if you look at that, it's just crazy to see the graph inside of Search Console that is just, going way, way up, and it's a steady increase. And again, that's a mass page type site, right? And it's a directory site with even the mass page sites typically have much more content on the page than my directory site, which just had literally name, address, phone number, and a text-based link to the web address. Like, in other words, not hyperlink. So it's just crazy to see that kind of results that, even though it was a mass import of 750 contractors, it's gaining traction to the point now that I'm getting organic listings submitted by tree contractors all across the country. And all I've targeted is Virginia contractors so far. I think I've got like 10 Maryland contractors in there. And that was just because I was doing some testing on the import side of things. But I'm just getting ready to, in fact, it's on my daily planner to do the next state. It's either going to be North Carolina or Maryland. And but it's crazy because, like, in the last 3 weeks alone, I think I've had 7 or 8 users submitted listings. So contractors that have found my directory site and then submitted their own listings. And what's interesting is I'm using that site also as a secondary monetization method is for lead generation. So I've got my lead simplify form on there, and we actually occasionally get like this random lead from somebody submitting the form to have tree service contractors contact them. But I got one from California within the last week. I've gotten some from Rhode Island, from Massachusetts, from Florida. And this is a directory site that so far only has Virginia-based, well, primarily Virginia-based contractors, yet I'm getting lead form fills from like various states across the country. So it's crazy because that's just showing that like the site itself is starting to gain some organic authority with like literally no SEO work done to it other than the SEO Shield with some ROIS expansion stacks. And like I said, I think I did like 15 press releases initially, but I had to cut that back because I was burning up all my press release credits. So pretty cool. What are your thoughts on that, Marco? Anything? Okay. Number 2, since it is my understanding that a Google site is considered a non-spam authority asset by Google, I was wondering if it was okay to use it for an actual local lead gen site. Of course. In fact, that's all Rob did for a long time. I think that's still his preferred method, isn't it?
Yes, that's all he does.
Yeah. He doesn't even like WordPress sites.
Look, go like right now. We've been showing it. Gordon, where have you been? DC Plumber. Can you just pop that up in
Sure.
incognito?
I'm not signed in here, so. That's all Rob likes to use is the G sites. So there we go.
Oh, number 1, DC Plumber LLC. There it is.
Right there. That's
It's a
it.
site.
It's also that one there. Same thing. And that's a G site. So there you go. I mean, if you don't see RYS right there, then you've been living under a rock.
And no, not only that, because the next question, the next part of the question is about iframes. I'm like, Gordon, where have you been?
Yeah. So, and does Google have, so I'm sorry, let me back. Is it okay to use as Google Sites as a local lead gen site, or would Google look harshly at that? No, not at all. Remember, Google loves Google. Its own, right? It's very narcissistic. So Google loves Google, and it's so much easier to promote a Google site than it is anything else. In fact, that's one of the things that you can do to actually determine, like, low-hanging fruit is create a page on a G site, right? That's optimized for the keyword that you want to target with maybe a normal site build. And then just give it, get it indexed and see where it lands. Because a lot of times, if you've got, if it's optimized well, just the page itself, and it doesn't have to be a separate Google site either, but like just a page on a Google site that you optimize for a particular keyword that you want to test and see where it lands. Now, obviously you're going to have to do more work if it's on your own domain than you would on a G site, because Google loves itself. But you can oftentimes find, if you've got a page that ranks on a G site that's optimized for a keyword that you want to target for a site build or for a page on an existing site, and it ranks fairly well without you doing any off-page SEO whatsoever, then that gives you a good indication that it's a keyword that could probably be optimized for, that you could rank well with some additional work, perhaps in some off-page or some really good internal linking from your existing site. If you were to publish that sort of a page with the same content on your money site. Does that make sense? So it's a kind of a good, like, what do we call it? Poking. We used to call it poking keywords. We do a lot of that with YouTube, but you can do that with G sites too. Would you agree? Absolutely.
I mean, we used to do it all. And I mean, that's a fantastic way to figure out how quickly you can rank it. And then you just transfer. I'm not going to tell you how to do it here. You just transfer the power over to the money site.
That's right.
And build more power into the money site so that you can really take over with the money side. I mean, and you can see it here that there's actually 2 in the DC Plumber. Sorry, went away from in the DC Plumber example. There's 2. Well, sorry, there's 2 properties in the map pack, and there's like 3 or 4 organic. So 6 out of a possible 13 are the guides. Think about that. Think about the power that's in that when you can do this type of thing working this way, because both of those had the same approach. The DC Plumber and the plumber in DC, which is actually a WordPress money site rather than using a G site. So it's both approaches, and both you can see them. I mean, I don't see how else you can look at this except to say, holy shit, what have I been doing? Why have I not been taking advantage of this?
Yeah, I totally agree. Which, by the way, when I do launch my mass page project, you can bet your ass that our SEO Shield will be an integral part of that, and RYS expansions for each location that I build mass pages around. So I've kind of got all this planned out, and I'm really excited to bring it to you guys, but it's not ready just yet. So stay tuned. Well, yeah, I saw what you said. Well, you should be able to see the number here always, but perhaps not here. So thanks for the suggestion. Aaron, yes, we answered your question. PoFu Live is at the end of September, and it's going to be online again this year. Adrian's next says, hey guys, are you having trouble indexing public Google Docs? I got a public folder from a friend. So I created a few docs, but haven't been indexed. And I've tried spamdexing with no docs indexed. This has been tried for the last 2 weeks. The Google Docs are just random spun content about 2,000 words. Well, my question is, why are you trying to index a Google Doc with just random spun content? Like, well, I don't understand what the purpose of that is. If you have a document that is optimized for, you know, topical relevancy and things like that, then I don't know why you would. Sometimes things I know sometimes it takes a while for stuff to index for Google public or, you know, public files. But I mean, they typically don't have any problem indexing. They just sometimes take a while. Marco, can you shed some light on that?
No, because like, dude, we don't pay attention to indexing. We want them crawled. We want Google to know they're there. They're there for a specific purpose. Then the iframes will give us anything else that we need. Once we get Google into that G site, and once that G site is indexed, like we could care less whether the rest of the docs and everything else inside the drive stack stays indexed. It stays, excuse me, in the index, in the public, let's call it the public index, in what you see as the index. That doesn't mean they're not in Google's database. That doesn't mean that Google doesn't know about them, that Google doesn't know they exist, that Google doesn't know that the links in them don't exist. Like people were saying that maps, the My Map wouldn't index anymore, and we're able to index My Maps.
Yeah, they index.
I don't know what the hell people are talking about. We're able to index them. So maybe, so we go again to something that you said before, Bradley, where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And this is a perfect example. Random docs that are useless. Give Google a reason to index the doc for you. So, I mean, has it even been crawled? Do you know whether Google went and crawled it? If not, then I'm giving you too much game if I tell you what to do on the G site and how to get Google to crawl that and how to see if it gets crawled. We know exactly when they get crawled. We know how to get them crawled. We can get them crawled immediately. Not to say that they'll index immediately, but we see Google when Google goes and crawls it. So we know what's happening, and that's all we care about. How we build the power within the drive stack, and then how we create the iframes on the G site and on the expansion stacks, and how we create those expansion stacks. That all goes together to push all that to the money site. Now, it's not like it used to be where we used to just index it in seconds and see results, and we could rank it in seconds. We're not seeing that anymore, but we are seeing a whole lot of SEO benefit from how everything works together. So that's not going to help getting that Google Doc indexed. That's not going to help because you have to give Google a reason to keep it in the public index rather than to just not display it in that public or live index. Doesn't mean that it's de-indexed, and it doesn't mean that by using spam tools it's not necessarily going to index. Google has to have a reason to index it and display it to people.
Yeah. Okay, so the next question is from Aaron. Aaron says, Bradley, was your training today a Conversion.ai or a Surfer webinar? Well, it was both. But it was hosted by Conversion.ai. That's why I pulled up this page. It was the one that was right here. This one today. Here it was. I'm sorry. It was this one. Wednesday, May 12th at 12 p.m. Eastern. How to write and rank blog posts fast with Surfer and Jarvis. So Michael Susky or Suski or whatever his name is, and I'm probably completely butchering his name. Anyways, that guy, one of the developers for Surfer, was on with one of the people from Conversion.ai, and they kind of like back and forthed it. It was about a 50-minute webinar, but it was great for me because it gave me kind of a better understanding. See, what I was doing was I was using Conversion.ai to write stuff, right? And then I would go over and copy and paste it into Surfer, even though I know that you can have like the windows kind of merge inside of Conversion.ai. But anyway, long story short, I was doing it kind of more of a back and forth between the two tools, where I can see now just from watching this webinar today, it gave me some ideas. Plus I asked a bunch of questions in the webinar about how to use it for local stuff specifically, because I wanted to see some examples. But anyways, the replay should be on their YouTube channel within the next, I don't know how long it takes them to put it up, but probably soon. And it was a pretty good webinar. It gave me some insight on how to better use the tool. I can tell you one thing, I'm going to have to increase my Surfer SEO account though, because I've already pretty much burned up all my credits in just like the last 2 weeks. So it was a really good webinar though. Next is Robert. He says, I'm a seasoned SEO and I still have a lot to learn about how to do the do. What group should I join first, MasterMind or Heavy Hitter Club? The follow up to that was, I have clients in my own lead gen site, so need both sides of the do. Well, I'll give you my version of it, and then we can also hear from Marco and anybody else that wants to chime in. But if you're looking for SEO how-to, specifically SEO how-to, the nitty-gritty, the technical shit, that's Heavy Hitter Club all the way. That's exactly what Rob and Marco do. They deep dive into all sort of SEO tactics, our overall strategy, get real technical and all that stuff. MasterMind, we do cover some SEO stuff, but it's primarily more about business building, agency building, consultancy business building, processes, outsourcing, apps and tools, all that kind of stuff. So again, if you want the best of both worlds, then we do offer discounts if you join both, if you're a member of both. So just reach out to support@semanticmastery.com and we can get you set up with, or provide you with the offers for that. But like I said, if you just need SEO training, Heavy Hitter Club is absolutely where you want to go. Marco and Rob have taken over all of that. I cover stuff that I'm doing in my own business as far as SEO in the MasterMind webinars I host. But the MasterMind is more of a community about, it's a peer-based community where we all learn from each other. I ask questions in the MasterMind just as often as any of our members do, so that I can get input from others. It really is truly a mastermind. It's not just us teaching you guys stuff. It's more about like interacting, sharing tips and strategies and methods that work, things that don't work. We share that also. And then, like I said, the mini masterminds is what I think one of the most powerful and best things about the mastermind is having these little accountability groups. I had 3 of them running simultaneously. Now I've just got 2, but I'm about to start that 3rd one, which will also answer Aaron's question in a minute about the kind of mass page build stuff. That's going to be another accountability group that I'm going to set up that all mastermind members are going to be part of, whether they join the mass page, program or not. Because in the mastermind, again, mastermind has its privileges. But yeah, there will be another one that I'll be hosting where, again, probably every other week, I'll be doing a webinar specifically around building those sites and how to apply it to local lead gen. So both is where I'm going to tell you to get the best. If you've got clients and lead gen sites, it means it probably means you're making money, which reinvest some of that money so that you can make even more. Your turn, Marco.
Yeah, it's an investment in your education and in furthering your knowledge. The first thing in that path to enlightenment, lack of a better word, is to understand that we really don't know, and we can't know what we don't know. And so once you realize that, because if you approach it, I already know. You said you're a seasoned SEO, but you don't really know, which is, there's so much that you don't know. Dude, there's so much I don't know. So many people who are better. That's why I surround myself with people who are way smarter than me, who are way better than me, but who are also action takers. Because if you tell me to do something, I'm going to go do it, and I'm going to stay on it. This is where it really pays. The magnificent obsession, C.T. Fletcher quote. This is where it really pays to be obsessive. Because if you tell me something or to do something, I'm going to go and get it done. No matter what, I'm going to get it done. Now, if you tell me I can't do something, then I'm going to double the effort just to prove you wrong. So tell me something I can't do. I'm going to show you how I can. That's where I am. But I also understand that there's a lot that I don't know. And if I'm going to get something done, then first I have to learn how to get it done. What Rob and I are doing is taking that approach. There's so much that we do know that we want to share with people, but there's a whole lot more that we don't know that we need to explore, see how we can take advantage of it, see how we can use it. As far as technical SEO is concerned, I'm not going to do ads, no PPC, no anything. I'm not even going to go into any other cloud or any other services, but maybe S3. To show you how to get results, because we do. You just saw the DC plumber. You saw that's been there for what? Almost 4 years, maybe 5. I don't know. 3 years at least, going on 4. You've seen it. So you see what can be done with what we do. If there's ever a reason to go into any others and explore, then I want it to be because we need the power, not just to see about the power, because our approach is an entity first approach, and how combining the brand and the entity, the brand message and the entity, and how solidifying that throughout the web, validating and solidifying throughout the web, creates fantastic results. But we do it 2 ways. We don't only do it through content. We don't only do it through on-site, but also through off-site SEO. So it's not only your on page, it's also your off page, and it's how you relate everything to one another. It's the entity, man. I talked about the entity game end game when I started my charity webinar series. The entity end game. I've been talking about this for years, how it's all about entities. And now with Rob's schema training, he's showing how you create all of these entity relationships so that you further define what your, let's call it a top level entity. It should be a named entity, but if it isn't, it can be a level under the named entity. And how by creating all of these relationships, by learning to reference them, by using them in the content, and then by powering it up, how that has fantastic results. Now, I'm not going to show, again, how it's done here. I'm not going to tell you how it's done. I'm explaining the overall approach that we take, which nobody else takes. We take that, what Bradley calls holistic approach to technical SEO, where we try to explore all of the different aspects that Google, I could care less about Bing. Don't even mention Bing. I don't care. We can think about Bing later. First, we conquer Google, then we move on. Google's where the money is. Yeah. Not to say that there isn't any money in Bing. Google's where the big money is. Google's where the big fish are playing. This is where we want to play, compete, and win. So from that standpoint, if you want the nitty gritty, in quote, on how to do the do in technical SEO and how to take the approach that wins today and will win tomorrow, that's the Heavy Hitter Club. If you want to join a community of like-minded individuals that are there to support one another for business growth, or maybe for networking, Bradley showing all of the different things that he shows through his webinars, having access to that Facebook group, which is just fantastic. You can go in there and ask anything, having access to my webinars, the Ask Marco Anything webinars. So you get webinars actually every week, where you can go in and ask your questions and get them solved. Bradley will talk to you. I'll talk to you. Rob joins me in the Ask Marco Anything. I should make them Ask Marco and Rob Anything webinars. But it's just so you know. So again, this isn't one or the other approach. This should be, how do I get into both? Well, we can hook you up. We got the hookup. We will take care. You want to? It's not a question of wanting. You need to join both. One, because you have all of these individuals who have that mindset of, I am going to be successful. And the way that I'm going to be successful is by learning the semantic mastery way. And the other way that I'm going to be successful is by them taking this mindset, going and getting that SEO training, applying it, because you can't just learn. You have to take that knowledge and use it. I keep telling people, you have to take some sort of action. It involves action. You can't just think about what the fuck you're going to do, because you're not going to do anything. You have to do. It seems facetious when I say do the do. But there's a lot to that. It means take that step. Joining the mastermind and the heavy hitter is just like it's the initial action. You go from inertia and you begin the movement, but then you have to train and apply. Then you got to make money. You apply, you make money, and then we show you how to do everything else, because we have all the systems set up so that you can be successful. So this might seem like a pitch fest for what we do. I'm glad you asked the question though, but it isn't, because it's exactly the approach that we take day to day in our business with our clients, with the different lead gen projects that we have, with the different shit that I have that's not online, or different things from Semantic Mastery, from the heavy hitter, that I'm also working on, it's the same approach. I am going to do it again and again and again until I succeed at it. And if I fail, it's just a stepping stone toward my eventual success. What I learned from my failures, and anyone who hasn't failed hasn't tried a fucking thing, but what I learned from my failures is how not to do something. It just means, okay, I can't go that way. Let me then back up a little bit and try it another way. Let me try something different. Let me try it another way. And you just continue building until you succeed at whatever it is that you're doing. Nobody goes into the gym benching over 300 pounds. Nobody. I don't give a fuck who it is. Your first time in the gym, I got under 135 pounds, and I had been away from the gym for so long that they literally had to lift 135 pounds. I looked like T-Rex, man. On the way, get it off me. It had been so many years since I had been in the gym that I couldn't do it. But the people who laughed at me, I took that as my motivation to say, okay, give me 6 months because I know where I can get, and I know how I am about this. Give me 6 months, then we'll see who laughs. It's how you deal with failure in all of this that's going to lead to your eventual success. And I know I'm saying a lot, but it's so fucking important, especially for this, you deciding on what step to take. If you have the money to make the investment, invest in your education and your knowledge, because that's going to lead to greater success. And any of you listening, do the do.
But Marco, we don't have shiny fucking objects to sell
nothing
every
new.
week and new tactics. And I'm being an asshole, guys, because the fundamentals don't change. And in all my years now that I've been doing this shit, and I've gone from tiny object to shiny object, I always return back to the fundamentals for consistent, repeatable results that are reliable. Like, in other words, always go back to the fundamentals. The stuff that isn't sexy, it's not fun sometimes, but it works. And that's, again, you can go get the newest JB Zoo offer or whatever. I don't even know what the hot marketplace is for that stuff anymore because I stopped buying all that shit. But, and go from one thing to the next, because remember, as entrepreneurs, we always think the grass is always greener on the other side, right? We always, again, and as an entrepreneur, we are, I think, we're conditioned to see opportunity, right? And so it's easy for us to get caught up in shiny objects because, again, as a marketer, like I get sucked into sales letters, which is why I just unsubscribed from as much as I possibly could, because I know me, I'll go through my email inbox and I'll click open and be like, oh, that sounds interesting. And then go get stuck on a fucking sales page for 15 minutes, then end up buying it and then wasting 3 days playing around with something that is never going to actually really benefit me in any way, shape, or form. All it did was benefit the developer of whoever made the product or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so my guilty pleasure now are AppSumo deals. I buy a shit ton of AppSumo deals all the time. But the beautiful thing about AppSumo is for the vast majority of their products, if you they have a 60-day no questions asked money back refund policy for most products. You have to read the fine print. But I love those because I go in and buy those AppSumo deals if it's something that I think I could absolutely use in my business. And then I give it a test, and that's in my downtime. I consider it, and I learned this from Marco years ago, but I consider that my playtime. I go in and I play around with an app when I have some time that I would have otherwise been doing something like watching TV or whatever. And if I find it useful and can see how it will apply, or I can integrate it into my processes for my business, or for my, integrate it in my VA's processes, then I end up keeping it. If I don't like it, then I just request a refund and I keep the credits in the account so I can use it for something else. Does that make sense? So again, that's what I was making that comment, guys, because, a lot of the stuff that we talk about, we don't launch products all the time. And why? Because we have stuff that works. And that's why. And so, we could come out with a new product every 3 months, like a lot of guys do, a lot of developers do, but there's really no point for us to do that when we can just keep doing what we're doing and improving upon that, scaling that. Okay. So last questions, which are from Aaron.
But not only that, it's not only that it works, but we show the results. If you go to the free Facebook groups, if you go to the paid groups, if you come to the webinars, we show you the results that we're getting and how it is that we're getting them. It's not as if we just tell you, as if you guys just get images, because anybody can play with that. There was a guy not too long ago who got caught photoshopping his images. We don't do that. I will show you the back end in GMB and analytics and in Search Console during the webinars live. I'll show you. Come see it. And then we'll show you how we got the result. I don't know anybody else in the industry that's doing things this way.
Yeah, I'm a fucking open book in the mastermind. There's no question about that. Probably where it's at times I shouldn't be when it comes to like showing projects and stuff, but so far, knock on wood, I've been fortunate. Aaron says, and this will be the last question, guys, we're going to wrap it up, but he says, will you be forming a group for Heavy Hitter Club members who join you in creating mass pages? You know what? No, I wasn't planning on it, but I'll tell you what, will amend my requirements. As long as you are a paying member of either the Mastermind or Heavy Hitter Club, then yes, you can join the mastermind or the accountability group where I will be doing, like I said, probably bi-weekly. We will meet bi-weekly for either 60 minutes or 90 minutes. I haven't decided yet. It's probably going to end up being 90 minutes because I can imagine that those page builds are going to be a bit involved. And again, I haven't started doing it yet, so I don't know. But regardless of how long they are, every other week we'll be doing a webinar where, it's basically Build with Bradley. That's what we can call it. And I would say, yes, we can, as long as you are a paying member of either the Mastermind or the Heavy Hitter Club or both, that yes, you can attend those, but you have to be a paying member of one of those in order for you to be part of that. More details will come, but yes, Aaron, you can join me in that. Last question, because he snuck this in at the very end. He says, in regards to Google Docs, it was an experiment as I wanted to publish tons of Google Docs to get the most juice out of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's not how you get the most juice out of everything. I mean, we've done hours upon hours and hours of testing, months and months and months and months, and we can continuously produce G-sites and drive stacks to this day. We've done thousands of these, especially like MGYB. You've done a bunch of them, Brad.
Hundreds.
We've all done them.
Hundreds, yeah.
So, dude, I mean, yeah, the testing's already been done. Come join one of the groups where you can get the most advantage of what we already know about what it is that you're trying to do. Because if we haven't done it, then we will go and do it, and we'll show you how to take advantage of it. That's what we do in the Heavy Hitter Club. That's exactly what we do. That's exactly what it's for. Showing you how to get the most power out of everything.
Try it for a month. Give it a fucking shot for a month.
You'll never leave.
That's it. Just try it on for a month, and if you like it, keep it. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much the easiest way. So cool. Thanks, Adrian. Appreciate that, and you're welcome, Aaron, as well. Glad to have you guys here asking questions. So thanks everybody for being here. I do have a mastermind webinar tomorrow, so I will see some of you there. Otherwise, we'll see you all next week.